Hello, thank you for joining us today, Art. So tell us a little bit about your career and your relationship to Hopper House, and just give us a little introduction to who you are.
Yeah, I'm a third generation Rocklander, and I worked at the original Rockland Journal News right up the street here in Nyack for 42 years. I was staff photographer and an editorial page editor and compositor. And I've been coming past Hopper House since I was a little boy. My parents used to shop here before the big malls were built. And I actually saw Hopper's sister sitting on this very porch over here. And I've been with Hopper House as a volunteer and also as a trustee at times since about 2007. And in my retirement, I had to find something to do, so I went back to my newspaper photography roots, and I branched out into painting. I'd like to show you some pieces and some of my methods. This is called After 7 a.m., and it's a take on Hopper's 1948 painting, 7 a.m., the clock is set at 7, which is up the street here in Upper Nyack, on the corner of Church and North Broadway. Well, Hopper, there's a house next to it, and Hopper didn't want to show that house, so he just put like a green forest. So I decided to do the entire painting in green as an ode to him. This doesn't look at all like his painting, of course. If it did, it'd be worth $1 million, or maybe 100. Anyway,
what medium is this, Art? Is it acrylic?
This is acrylic, which I work principally on, and it's on wood, and it's scraped and it's faded, and that's how the light dwindles in these particular paintings. This one here is of the original dining room at Hopper House, which is now our second gallery, and there are parlor doors here. And I deliberately put an abstract painting on the wall because Hopper didn't like abstract painting. He thought there wasn't enough invention in it. But the truth is, in some of the Hopper works, there are abstract paintings. In fact, in Chop Suey, famous, there's your abstract painting right in the window. And sometimes I'll do black and white. I like to go to black and white every once in a while. And this one's on linen. And I decided it's sort of a skyscraper in New York, so it's a different technique.
And I like that it's unstretched. Do you do that often with your work?
Every once in a while.
Yeah, it sort of gives the painting a different feel, right?
Yeah,
like a softer
more
feel.
Wall hanging than, than an actual canvas.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
The texture is just fabulous in all your work.
Thank you. And sometimes I do pure abstract. This was it's called Storm at Sea, and you can tell the red of the storm, and the storm is starting to clear here, and there's a house here. You just see the windows. And this was done during for me, the terrible Trump times, and it was a storm that was occurring, but yet the hope of the country getting away from that.
I was going to get a close-up on some of the texture here. Art's paintings are really textural.
They are textural.
There's a lot of little things.
Scrape them a lot.
Do you use a paint knife to scrape them, or your hands?
I usually use razor blades.
Razor blades. Yeah. That almost sounds destructive, but the results are cool.
Yeah, and this is my latest actually, and this is called Upon a Mantle, and it's actually based on a photograph that Simone Eisel, the German designer who lives in Piermont, has been a Hopper trustee. She takes wonderful close-up photographs of table settings and so forth, and I use that as inspiration to do this, but it doesn't look at all like what she actually did, her beautiful piece. And I faded it, I made it fade at this point, so that, because when you put things on a mantle and so forth, they may stay there for years, and your memories start to fade. And so this could be a mantle of, say, 50 years. So this is
ironic that the mantle behind you, the original mantle from the house here, that Hopper painted in, I'm going to forget the name of this painting, do we remember the name of this painting?
I don't remember it either.
Well, you can see in the side of it here this same mantelpiece that we're looking at. And ironic that you're painting mantles and things.
Yes.
So Well, do you want to talk a little bit more about your association with the house and what you do here for the museum?
Yeah, I'm sort of the handyman here these days. I come by to make sure that there are no water leaks and do small electrical and carpentry repairs. And I'm following in the steps of Lynn Savvy and Wynn Perry, who did the same thing before me. These old houses need sextons of a sort. They need caretakers, and I am the present volunteer caretaker and get to shovel the sidewalk and take out the trash, and it's just a great feeling. I sometimes feel I'm meeting Edward here.
Yes, I agree. When I'm here alone, which is often nowadays, I feel like I'm here with the Hoppers, and
I do too.
you know, the house has its little quirks, and I'm not going to say it's haunted, but
you know, it has a good feeling. Sometimes you go into an old house and you feel it's ghostly or scary, but this house has a real nice feeling, and it's probably because both Hoppers, his parents, really encouraged him as an artist. Who would have done that for a child in the 1890s or so? So I think it was probably a warm family.
I also think the brightness of this house, the big windows, you can see a couple of the windows behind Art, they currently have the shades on them, but we get a lot of beautiful light.
We do, and particularly in Hopper's bedroom where he was born and where he spent his entire time here until he was 28, the light that comes in off the Hudson is just amazing. I mean, for this guy to wake up at 1 month, say, of age and see this light, you see how it informed his artistic career.
Right. And would you say that, like you said earlier, sort of being here inspires you? Maybe it doesn't necessarily directly inspire your work, but it sort of inspires your feeling about painting and
it
things
does,
like that.
because I did not paint until I became a volunteer at Hopper House, and I was looking for some other creative outlet. When you work for a newspaper, you help give the daily birth to news, and you have to meet deadlines, and you have to be as creative as possible, individually or in a group, and I just wanted to continue that, so I was able to do this. I think 10 years from now there'll be another me here, somebody else with a different name doing this, and 20 years from now, and hopefully 100 years from now, because the tradition has to continue. I'm just privileged to be part of it, as you have been.